3 days. That is how long your soulmate has been carrying something they cannot put into words. 3 days of restless sleep, of picking up their phone and setting it back down, of staring at a ceiling at 2 a.m. wondering if what they feel is real or just the echo of something they once let slip away. And today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today is the day that silence finally cracks open. You may not have seen it coming, but deep down, some quiet part of you has been waiting for exactly this moment. My beloved, before we go further, I need you to understand something important. What is unfolding right now around you is not ordinary. This is not a coincidence that you found yourself here, reading these words. On this particular day, there is a reason your intuition led you to this message. Your energy and the energy of the person connected to you have been moving toward each other, like two rivers that have been running parallel for too long. And right now, in this exact window of time, those rivers are about to meet. Let's begin at the place where everything truly starts, not with grand gestures or dramatic revelations, but with a single moment 3 mornings ago when your soulmate woke up and felt the weight of your absence more sharply than they ever had before. Something ordinary triggered it. Maybe it was a song playing from another room. Maybe it was the particular quality of morning light that reminded them of a time when things between you felt simple and close and right. Whatever it was, it landed differently this time. Not like a memory, like a warning. They tried to shake it off. They are someone who has learned, perhaps too well, how to keep moving forward, even when something inside them is pulling in the opposite direction. They poured coffee, checked their messages, stepped into the rhythm of their day. But you stayed with them, not as a thought they could dismiss, but as a presence they could feel, hovering at the edges of every conversation, every quiet moment, every pause between one thing and the next. You need to understand what this means, because most people mistake this kind of persistent presence for nostalgia. It is not nostalgia, it is recognition, the soul recognizing what it cannot afford to lose. Here is where I need you to sit with something, because this is the part that changes how you see everything else. For weeks before these 3 days, your soulmate had been operating in a kind of emotional numbness. Not because they stopped caring, but because caring felt dangerous. They had built a careful architecture around their heart, routines, distractions, reasons why waiting was the smarter choice. And that architecture felt stable. It felt like protection. But what they didn't realize is that every time they thought of you, every time they almost reached out and then didn't, they were placing invisible cracks in that structure, small ones, barely noticeable, until 3 days ago, when the weight of everything they hadn't said finally became too much to hold. What broke through first was not emotion, it was clarity, a sudden, almost brutal clarity about what they actually want, not what is convenient, not what is safe, what they want. And what they want has your name written all over it. This is the part where I ask you to breathe, because the next layer of this goes deeper than most people are prepared for. Your soulmate is not just experiencing feelings about you. They are experiencing a reckoning, a full accounting of every moment they chose distance over truth. Every time they let fear write the ending to a sentence that love had started. And reckonings are uncomfortable. They are supposed to be, because discomfort is what forces us to finally stop pretending that we are okay with less than what we truly need. In the past 48 hours, something specific has happened that you may not be aware of yet. Your soulmate has been visited by signs, and I want to be precise here because precision matters. Not vague feelings or general unease, but actual, tangible signs that they cannot explain away. A number they associate with you appearing in unexpected places. A stranger saying something that could have come directly from a conversation only the two of you ever had. A dream so vivid that when they woke from it, they lay completely still for several minutes, afraid that moving would dissolve what they had just experienced. These were not random. The universe does not waste its signals. These signs were delivered with intention, and your soulmate felt that intention in the marrow of their bones. What followed those signs was something I want you to understand very carefully, because it explains the energy you may have been sensing around you without knowing what it meant. After receiving those signs, your soulmate went somewhere private. It doesn't matter where. It matters that they sought solitude, and they allowed themselves to fully feel everything they had been managing from a careful distance. The longing, the regret, the specific tenderness they carry for you, that they have never been able to attach to anyone else. They felt all of it at once, without flinching, without retreating into the numbness they had been living in. And when that feeling moved through them completely, something on the other side of it surprised them. Instead of being emptied out, they felt awake, more awake than they had been in longer than they can remember. That awakening is what you are connected to right now. That is the energy you have been sensing. Now let's talk about fear, because it has not gone away. I want to be honest with you about that, because you deserve honesty more than you deserve comfort. Fear is still present in your soulmate's experience, and it is not small. It takes a specific shape for them. The fear that too much time has passed. The fear that whatever opening once existed between you has slowly grown over. The way a wound heals itself, whether or not the deeper matter beneath it was ever truly resolved. They are afraid that you have moved on in ways that cannot be undone. They are afraid that reaching out now would feel like arriving late to something that ended without them. But here is what I need you to hear, and I need you to hear it as truth rather than comfort. That fear is not information. That fear is the mind's attempt to protect the ego from risk. And your soulmate, in the last day, has begun to understand the difference between fear that is telling them the truth and fear that is simply afraid of itself. This distinction is enormous. It is the difference between staying still and stepping forward. And right now, they are in the process of making that distinction with a clarity they have not had before. Something shifted in the last 24 hours that I have to tell you about, because this is where the trajectory changes. Your soulmate spoke to someone, not about you directly, but close enough that what they heard in that conversation landed like a key turning in a lock. It could have been a friend describing a situation that mirrored your soulmate's own in ways that were almost uncanny. It could have been something they read that articulated an experience they had been unable to name. Whatever the specific form, the effect was this: they suddenly had language for what they have been carrying. And once you have language for something, it stops existing only as a pressure in your chest and begins to exist as something you can actually look at, examine, and decide what to do with. The decision they are in the process of making is not small. It requires them to set aside the version of themselves that learned to stay quiet, to choose distance over vulnerability, to protect their heart by keeping it at arm's length from the things that matter most. This is years of patterning they are working against. Years of telling themselves that controlled distance is the same thing as peace. It is not the same thing. And somewhere in the last 72 hours, they finally stopped pretending that it is. I want you to stay present with me for what comes next, because this is where we cross from what has been happening behind the scenes into what is about to become visible to you. Your soulmate is at the edge of a decision, not a general feeling or vague intention, but an actual decision about whether and how to reach across whatever distance currently exists between you. They have rehearsed it, not once, but multiple times. Different versions of what they would say, different ways of beginning the conversation that would allow them to be honest without feeling completely exposed. Some of those rehearsals fell apart before they finished them, but the one they keep returning to, the version that feels least like performance and most like truth, that one has stayed with them. It has a beginning, it has a middle, it has something that, for the first time, might actually reach you. The timing of this is not incidental. There is a window opening right now, not a permanent opening, not something that will simply wait indefinitely, but a real and specific window, and your soulmate can feel it the way you feel. A change in barometric pressure before a storm. Not dramatic, but undeniable. They are aware on some level. They cannot fully articulate that this moment has a quality that other moments haven't had. That acting now means something different than acting later would. That hesitation at this particular threshold is not caution. It is loss. I have to pause here and speak to you directly as the person receiving this. How are you holding what I am telling you? Because this is a lot to carry in your own body while you are reading it. The awareness that someone who matters to you has been in the middle of all of this. Feeling all of this without you knowing. Some of you are feeling relief right now. Some of you are feeling a grief you didn't expect. Grief for the time that was spent on opposite sides of a silence that neither of you fully chose. Both of those responses are valid. Both of them make sense. What I want to offer you is this: the grief and the relief are not in opposition. They are the same acknowledgement that this connection is real, and that real connections carry weight. Honor that weight. Don't rush past it toward what comes next. The next chapter cannot be properly entered without first allowing yourself to feel what the last one cost you. Now, let me tell you about the unexpected thing that happened today. The thing that is still unfolding as you read these words. Something arrived in your soulmate's experience this morning that they were not prepared for. An encounter, an object, a moment, something that carried your essence in a way they hadn't anticipated in that context. And instead of the dull ache they had grown accustomed to associating with thoughts of you, what they felt was something sharper, brighter. A recognition so immediate it almost knocked the breath out of them, because it didn't feel like looking backward. It felt like looking forward. It felt like a preview of something that hasn't happened yet, but that was unmistakably, undeniably on its way. That feeling did not leave them. It is still with them now. It is coloring everything they see and hear and feel today, giving everything a quality of imminence, the sense that something is right at the edge of happening, that the world is holding its breath for one more second before it exhales into something new. What I need you to understand is that your energy is part of what they felt this morning. You have been contributing to this even without knowing it. The thoughts you have been having about them, whether you have been holding on to hope, or trying to release attachment, or simply wondering what became of what you once shared, those thoughts carry energy. That energy travels, it reaches. And what your soulmate felt this morning was in some real and meaningful way a response to what you have been sending out into the space between you. This is why what happens next matters so much, and why I need you to pay careful attention to the days directly ahead. Because the energy that has been building on both sides of this connection is approaching a tipping point, and tipping points require awareness to navigate well. They require you to be present, to be open, and to be prepared to respond rather than react when the moment arrives. There is something waiting for you that is larger than a simple reunion or a renewed conversation. What is waiting for you is a recalibration, a fundamental shift in the way this connection exists in your life and in theirs. The terms that governed you before will not be the terms that govern you going forward. What is coming is not a return to what was. It is an arrival at what was always meant to be, if the two of you could survive long enough and grow enough to receive it. And I believe, based on everything that has been converging around you in this season, that you have, both of you, the courage it has taken your soulmate to arrive at this edge is not visible to you. And I want you to know the full weight of it. Every step toward you has required them to dismantle something that felt like safety. Every moment of clarity has come at the cost of a comfortable illusion they had been tending carefully. The version of themselves that is walking toward you right now is not the same version that walked away, or stayed silent, or chose distance. This is someone who has been quietly but completely reshaped by the experience of missing you, by the specific, irreplaceable quality of what they feel. When they allow themselves to stop pretending they don't feel it, they are not perfect. They will not arrive without their fears or their unresolved edges, but they are arriving honestly. And honesty is the only foundation on which anything real can actually be built. So here is where I leave you poised at the edge of your own part in this. Because this is not a story that is happening to you. You are not a passive recipient of someone else's journey. You are in this too, with your own courage, your own clarity, your own work of releasing the fear that told you this connection was something you should stop believing in. What you choose to hold in your heart in the coming days will matter. The openness you allow yourself will matter. The willingness to meet something beautiful without immediately bracing for it to be taken away, that will matter more than you know. Something is approaching, not slowly, not vaguely, but with the specific and purposeful momentum of something that has finally found its direction. You will feel it before you see it. You may already be feeling it now, a warmth that doesn't quite have an explanation, a sense of something shifting in the atmosphere around you, a quiet knowing that the season of waiting is ending and something else is beginning. Let that knowing in. Don't argue with it. Don't manage it into something smaller, because smaller feels safer. Let it be exactly the size it actually is, because what is coming is meant to be exactly that size. There is one more thing I need to tell you, and this one I cannot fully reveal in this message. What I can tell you is this: within the next reading, there is a detail about your connection that almost no one in your life knows. And your soulmate is on the verge of naming it out loud for the first time. That naming is going to change the shape of everything between you. It is the piece that has been missing from every conversation you have had. The thing that has been sitting in the silence between your words, unnamed, powerful, and patient. When it finally surfaces, you will understand why this journey took exactly as long as it did. Not longer, exactly this long. Make sure you are here for that. Your story is not finished. It is barely beginning. If this message reached something in you that you didn't expect it to reach, I want you to tell me in the comments below. Not because I need to know, but because saying it out loud is part of how you receive it. The act of naming what you feel makes space for what is coming. And right now, making space is the most powerful thing you can do. Share this with someone who is standing at their own edge. Someone who needs to hear that the silence they have been living in is not the end of the story. Someone who has forgotten that connection this deep does not simply evaporate. It waits. It grows patient. And then, when the timing finally aligns, It returns with everything it was always carrying. That return is happening for you. Right now, stay close.